Hey there, I've returned from my retirement, but I've lost my profile persona, so here's a stock photo, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, Disney Plus just released a new Ice Age movie. The sixth one, to be exact. Now, I don't really have to explain what was going on behind closed doors almost a year ago as of writing this, but if you haven't watched one of my older videos, in which case I don't blame you, Disney had some financial troubles during 2020, and even to this day, I can't imagine why. So their best course of action was to close down Blue Sky Studios, the studio behind the Ice Age and Rio franchises. Worse yet, they started promoting the characters on their social media, not even a year later, which understandably got people a little pissed. TBH, I don't blame them. I mean, imagine defiling someone's grave in favor of a promotion. Actually, let's not think about that, it's pretty fucked up. Then on Disney Plus Day, a trailer popped up for this new film, further proving some people's fear of the franchise true. It turns out the House of Mouse no longer needed Blue Sky's aid to make them some easy money, when they could just churn it out themselves. When this was initially announced, I thought this was gonna be a TV series, but that's because most of the sources I've read regarding it wouldn't make up their fucking minds whether it was a movie or a TV show, so I was a bit conflicted. Then I was proven otherwise because it is indeed a movie, clocking in at a running time somehow longer than the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie that came out a month prior. And here we are, present day February 2022, where a grown-ass man bitches about a kids movie. I mean reviews a kids movie. In other words, me being a cynical bigot. Now, jokes aside, I'm not as entirely anti-Disney as I sound or should be. In fact, I like most of their content, movie or series, classic and even modern. But that doesn't mean I don't hate them as a company, especially from all the stupid decisions they've made as of recent. But enough talk, let's get down to frozen brass tacks. Before we jump in, there's gonna be some massive spoilers in this review, even though you probably don't give a shit, so I'm just gonna spoil it anyway. Just saying. The film starts off with a 2-minute recap of the previous movies, but it's almost as if it's told out of order. The first two, I suppose, were told fine, but then it confirms the fourth and fifth are still canon, which is probably the saddest part, though that's not the point. Because they address the events of the third movie last, it kind of implies that the continuity was told in a different point of view. Like, the first two movies are understandably canon, but then it seems like they switched it to the fourth being the third, and the fifth being the fourth, and the third being the fifth. I apologize if I'm confusing you with this Ice Age lore, I just thought it was weird that it's told in a way as if the third was their most ambitious quest yet, I guess. I might just be spitballing random shit though. We get introduced to the Possum Twins, Crash and Eddie, oh boy.
Oh, my favorite.
In which are pulling some sort of stunt on top of an unstable mountain. They start bitching about Ellie being the voice of reason and decide they want to live on their own. Oh god, they invented cringe. No! Why are they wearing drip? What is this hip-hop music doing, and what the fuck is he doing? Not even 5 minutes, and I think we can agree that this possum here is far superior than these two. Then Ellie calls him down, but they destroy the mountain, causing an avalanche, which introduces us to the old gang returning. How lovely, I missed you.
Thought that good hygiene is overrated.
What the hell?
Really makes
Who are
me
these
feel
imposters
special.
among
Is that
us?
cute?
Dead meme. So apparently everyone except for Buck has been recast, and it's pretty noticeable. I assume it's because they had the budget of a McDonald's Happy Meal and couldn't afford the OG cast, which would probably explain why the animation looks like shit now, but honestly, hearing Sid's voice especially feels like they picked a random dude and didn't give him a single audition, but just told the guy, just do the lisp, people won't know the difference. So the avalanche destroys their habitat and the possums are to blame.
It took us all spring to build that summer habitat.
It was only 2 umbrellas and some rocks, but you destroyed it. So Manny starts tempting the twins to fuck off somewhere else or whatever because they caused too much trouble, even though they've been like this for the past 5 movies. They were literally the stupidest characters in the franchise, and it took them over 15 years to bring that up now.
Even though you're my brothers, sometimes I wish you were a little more mammoth and a little less possum.
She just insulted our possumness.
Afterwards, the mammoths have an argument about the possums, which leads Ellie to bring up her backstory of when she first met them, which is a complete copy of the second movie's flashback, except it's extended now. But I'll give it this though, it could have been a wholesome moment. if they had put emphasis on it, but instead the possums decide to sneak out of the camping ground and by next morning they find out they're gone.
The only thing worse than their survival skills is their sense of direction.
And their math skills aren't great either.
Shut the fuck up.
Meanwhile, the twins try to slingshot themselves from a tree, but it slings themselves to the ground. They realize it's actually the entrance to the Lost World, and after running into some raptors, they end up in the Lost World, which despite having a different cave entrance is almost the same one that could have been demolished in the 4th movie. It could be a different part of it, of course, but it's treated like it's the same one they discovered in the 3rd movie, which is ironic seeing how the 4th and 5th are canon to this franchise, yet the continental drift or collision course had zero effect on this place whatsoever. Then they get snatched by a flying reptile, which is piloted by Buck. Fuck yes, our boy is back. Less than 20 minutes and we finally get a titled character. But no exaggeration, I'm actually really glad he's in this. He's honestly one of the only good parts of the film, and he also is the reason why I'm not just gonna give the film a 0 out of 10 at the end of the day. He's just as likable as he was in the 3rd film, even bringing back his original voice, Simon Pegg. Though I'm still curious as to what happened to Rudy. Hell, Buck doesn't even bring him up by name, which implies that he's probably dead. Judging by the 4th movie, that would be the case. So they take a pit stop for some berry fuel and the possums spill the beans about why they're underground, which leads Buck to take them back home, but the entrance gets blocked by a boulder.
Arson.
Buck? Eddie? Harash?
Nice bunny. Different map.
It turns out a triceratops with a big fucking brain blocked the cave and through stereotypical villain motives explains that he does so to isolate mammals or some shit. So they nearly get eaten by his raptors but then escape to Buck's killer pad, which shouldn't even exist, but then again I'm reminded that they can celebrate holidays before Jesus Christ was born or know what social media is and dabbing. So I no longer give a shit. We get another backstory, but this time Buck tells the story of how he tried to convince the Brainiac dinosaur to live in harmony and join his Avengers superhero squad. By the way, I'm not joking, that's what they assume it is.
Like a superhero squad?
Well, I wouldn't use the term superhero. I mean, I wouldn't stop you from using it.
Anyways, now the Lost World has lore. Mammals and dinosaurs used to live in harmony and peace, but the Triceratops doesn't want to be a good guy, cause he believes being the ultimate dictator is how the world should be. So he then commits arson and killed his other teammates, I guess. Then they banish him to a lava island, but he uses fire to force some raptors into doing his bidding? And that gets them on his side, even when there isn't any fire. Wait, wouldn't this also work on other dinosaurs besides raptors? Most of them don't even speak, so they presumably have just as much intelligence as them, but I digress. Shit goes down, however, as the raptors break into Buck's crib. He tries to kick him out, but the possums fuck around for a minute. It's super hilarious, I guarantee you.
Get on with it.
The raptors find them, but they get knocked the fuck out by some gas. This is where a new character comes in, Z, who was initially part of Buck's Avengers team or some shit.
Wait, what about Bronwyn?
She's safe. I left her with the cucumber.
Good. The cucumber knows karate.
This here is Larry the Cucumber.
So she joins the posse to stop the genetically mutated dinosaur, who meanwhile breaks into Buck's crib, discovering through a broken mirror that he could just assemble an army of reptiles. Wait, why is there even a mirror? Then we see the posse swing vine to the watering hole where I suppose all the dinosaurs and mammals are still getting along, despite the movie kind of implying that there is some sort of discrimination going on, but again, I digress. So Buck tries to warn the animals to evacuate, only for the raptors to come in and fuck shit up. Hey, that's not a mammal. Then Buck goes wild on their reptile asses, but the Triceratops, his name is Orson, by the way, just thought I'd remind you, reveals his army of Control-C, Control-V extras, which causes the heroes to run off, knowing they'll need to plan out how to get rid of them.
The more important question is, what does Z stand for?
Shut the fuck up.
They head to a makeshift bone boat that's just floating there, and they argue about whose it is, I guess. If you're wondering why I keep saying I guess, it's because I'm writing this script to the best of my memory, because I keep forgetting what's even happening. Even when Buck is on screen, I can't help but feel bored watching this damn thing, and no, these two don't help either. Buck and Z have an argument about why they lost their team, and it's supposed to be an emotional conflict or something. After some unfunny slapstick, they make it to Lost Lagoon, where they meet up with Mama Dino from the third film. So wait, if she survived the events of the last two movies, where did Rudy go? Or better yet, where the fuck is my boy Scrat? He's like the face of the franchise, and he doesn't even appear in this film so far. What did you do to that damn squirrel, Disney? So if a T-Rex has a bad tooth, then they roofie her with Z's gas until the reptilian army ambushes them and they have to awaken the dinosaur with purple haze. It's actually purple gas, so the joke's on me. It gets all drunk and whacks off the raptors. Do not take that out of context for the love of God. Then it falls back to sleep. The reptiles outnumber the team and Buck confesses his incompetence to Z, with her admitting that she's incompetent as well. Then they have an argument about which one's incompetent because reasons. But instead of Buck working with her, he gives himself up to the reptiles to allow the rest of his friends to escape. The possums realize they screwed up badly and have no courage at all, but Z is like, "You had courage in you all along." You know that motivative trope you've seen in every other movie, don't you? It's in this, but the twins hilariously misunderstand it and thought they had courage in their spleen or some shit. Then it's followed up by a training montage. Oh shit, it's Sid and all the gang.
Look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I forgot you're here.
I don't know if I glossed over most of their screen time, but I suppose they've had so little of it, I did what Star-Lord did. The team make it to the watering hole, which the reptiles manage to drain and destroy within one day, and the main herd find the boulder blocking the cave to the Lost World. I'm starting to realize this isn't exactly the Lost World anymore if some mammals are already aware of it, but fuck it. They hitch a ride on the mama dino while the execution of Buck takes place, but the possums pull a deus ex machina and shoot the bastards with spitballs, and Z frees Buck from execution. Then they kick some reptilian ass. Then the old gang returns to get some mammal to dinosaur action up in this bitch. Oh god, this animation. I think Sid was doing some serious doobies again.
Smoke weed every day.
Buck tries to convince Orson to be an equal, even though they were just beating the shit out of dinosaurs earlier, but whatever, let's just get this over with. Crush and Eddie find out the disproportionately large-headed villain uses fire to control the raptors, so they pull out the fire-breathing lizards from earlier. So instead of melting their faces and committing more arson, they hypnotize the animals to play dead. Now the villain is outsmarted and gets his ass whooped. Buck is proud of the possums for their bravery, but then they remember, oh right, Ellie's here, and so are the others. We're family, all that shit, I don't know. Maybe there was some character development with her where she had to learn to let go of her brothers, but outside of the flashback, they put so little focus on that development that I didn't really care. Maybe it's just my shit attention span, but my point still stands. So there's an emotional scene where the possums decide to move to the lost but not really lost world to live with Buck and Z forever. Well, if it means I don't have to see another Ice Age movie, I'll accept it. To tie up loose ends, we get an epilogue where Crush and Eddie make a visit while Ellie caps off the story of what just happened. The end. Except it isn't. More cringe. Ah! Fuck you, Disney. That was the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, except it wasn't even about Buck. It was about these idiots. Whenever, fucking I'm done. To be fair, for just a moment though, it was still better than Collision Course. There, I said it. Even though it has some of the worst animation I've ever seen and some very low quality voice acting with a few exceptions, the movie's mostly boring and forgettable. The only thing I'll ever remember from this movie was when Buck was on screen, because he's genuinely one of the only things about the movie that's worth remembering, but even then, it's a very minor role he plays in and also doesn't carry the movie for me, when everything else is just completely forgettable. But that's all it really needed to be, is just a very bland movie. I know it's for kids, but you know you can make good kids movies, right? Just do good kids movies. Though on a side note, apparently there's rumors that there's gonna be a Rio sequel from Disney, and at that point I may as well just watch it, even though it's from Disney themselves. Because I have a feeling it's gonna have about the same quality as this film does, but I'm still gonna bitch about it and watch it anyway, because that's how I am, I guess. Anyways, I'm done talking about this. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. No, I'm not watching this again. I'm done with this franchise. Peace out.